Man,
Hey.
I was in the studio for real. These
Hey,
are like
y'all.
real podcast headphones I got on here. Man, what's up, people? Welcome. Welcome to Life Unfiltered. Heal that shit. This is the podcast where we fearlessly navigate the complexities of life, love, grief, and the extraordinary journey of healing. And we want y'all to come along with us on this journey as we use our lives to share our stories and triumphs, hopefully to challenge, inspire, and uplift.
Yes, indeed. Because in a world where we are often encouraged to mask our struggles, hashtag take the mask off, we choose to lead with love and vulnerability. It is finally time to collectively address our own shit. mhm, And have some real conversations. So, we're here to voice the things that you might not have verbalized or even thought about so that we can get to the root of the shit and heal.
So 2024 is the year of popping that shit. It's time out for being fake humble. So we really want to put some respect in our own names. We want y'all to put respect on your names about who you are, what you do, and all of that. So my name is Kim. I'm an educational advocate, activist, consultant, a visionary motivational speaker, a virtual producer, an intuitive melanated life coach. I help people deepen their relationship with God so they can understand their unique design and purpose in order to positively impact the world. I am a professional frolicker and I am also an expat currently living in Medellin, Colombia. And tonight I'm one of your hosts. What up?
Hey, yes, indeed. My name is Bianca. I am a digital strategist, a consultant, an education activist, and a certified snitch.
Snitch.
Yes, indeed. I am the founder of Teaching for the Culture, where we transform, we empower, we advocate, we coach, and heal. I am also an intuitive melanated life coach and a digital nomad currently working and traveling wherever there's Wi Fi. Currently, I am in Tallahassee, Florida, and my purpose is to empower others to find their own path to freedom and fulfillment. Amen. Yes, indeed. Let me get the air horns for me too, baby.
Okay. Hurry up, my
In this space here, okay, we operate by three keys: accountability, transparency, and integrity. Let me run it back just to make sure everybody's clear. Okay, there's three keys that we operate here: accountability, transparency, and integrity. And so before we go further, we want to make sure that we're very clear on expectations, what you can expect from us and what we can expect from you. Okay. So this is what you can expect from us. We're going to operate with the three keys. Just like we want you to operate with the three keys, we're going to keep that same energy. Amen. And
Amen.
we're going to also keep it real and we're going to speak freely. So we're going to cuss if and when we feel like it. The reason why I'm telling you this is because if you have little listeners and you don't want them to hear what we're talking about, maybe grab some headphones, some AirPods, or maybe not. That's your business. However, we are letting you know. Amen. And
Amen.
what we can expect from you. Hate speech and comments are not welcomed here. We believe in the block and be blessed ministry. Amen. So please be intentional with how you engage with others in social spaces, including this one, because this one is a safe space. We also want you to engage and go on this journey with us. Let us know where you're watching from. Respond in the comments. Talk to us. We're not the experts, but we are going to facilitate this conversation because it is needed and timely. And we want you to participate in this journey and bring people with you. So if you're watching live and you know that there's someone in this space that's going to need this healing work, tag them in the comments, share it to them privately. But we, in this space together, we are committed to doing the work to heal. Amen.
Amen, honey. You be announcements down, baby.
Let's go.
Okay.
I'm on my
So
first lady season. I'm telling you, I've been talking about being the first lady and all that, but
okay.
like we are continuing this journey. It does
Oh,
not stop. But we'll get back to that later. Go ahead, girl. I know you got some updates, baby.
so I do. We want to make sure y'all know how to interact with us in this space. And sometimes I will use the I statements. I be taking it for granted that people know like what we want y'all to do. And You might not. So we want to make sure that if you see us out here in these digital streets, that you know how to interact with us and let us know that you are a part of this community, right? So we have some emojis. And if you're a part of anybody's community out here in the internet space, a lot of people use emojis as a way to like be super hearts, or like a whole lot of love, or like, hey, 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 it's me, I got your back, like type of thing. So if you see either of us out there, you can use the heart with the bandage in order to represent the healing process. And you can pair that with any color heart that might fit your fancy at the time. But that heart with the bandage is our community emoji, and really lets people know that you're a part of the Heal That Shit community. You committed to the three keys, you know what I mean? Like all the things and such and so. But we also have individual emojis that you can use while we are out in these streets, maybe on another podcast or even on our own pages. So my emojis are the crayon and the sunflower. As you see, my glasses are yellow. Yellow is my favorite color, always has been. It represents joy and happiness and hope. And the sunflower has a lot of those same characteristics. So the sunflower for me is kind of that yellow spark. And it's interesting because once I named the sunflower my emoji, I started to see sunflowers everywhere. So like I was out at the mall
Yes, ma'am.
and it was some leggings in a window that had just so happened to have sunflowers on them, right? So it's a way for me where God can send me messages, right? So sunflower and also the crayon, because through this healing process over the past year plus, over the past 4, 5 years, actually, I think it's been, since things have just been going nuts and crazy, my life kind of went to this place of black and white. So I'm transitioning my life out of a place of black and white to color because I really want to color the fuck out of my life. So my two emojis again are the crayon and the sunflower.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Every time you talk about the crayon in particular, I just get so much joy. So I'm glad that you share that in the way that you do so people can hear how you are coloring the out of this. Yes, indeed. Okay. Well, my emojis. There's a teddy bear. Okay. It's teddy bear season, baby. There's a lot of love to give. There's a lot of love to receive. And I'm telling you, I'm that teddy bear that's going to give and receive. Amen. And so
Amen.
that is the emoji that speaks to my heart. I'm really big in giving that love and giving that care. And so the teddy bear is going to be my staple emoji. Okay. But also the hands that form the heart, baby. Listen, I got it on my desk. Shout out to the Timu, by the way. Okay, not sponsored, but this is where I got it from for the low. This symbol right here means so much to me. For those of you that know my story about my heart, my dad sent me a picture today of me healing from having my pacemaker implanted. And I asked him the date of the photo. He said it was August the 11th, 2022.
Wow, 2 years. Bianca, 2 years ago, then one girl. Oh my God. Jesus.
So just even receiving that photo alone today, hours before this broadcast, just uplifted to me how God is moving in my life and
Yeah.
how I'm going to continue to be unapologetically me. And I'm going to be bold in my pursuit in the things that God has had me and has me to do.
Mm.
Amen. So those are my emojis. Teddy bear season for the teddy bear, and also the hands forming the heart. Amen.
Yes, indeed. Girl, I got so many things I need to say. But anyway, I'm gonna keep with these announcements. Make sure that y'all are connected with us on social media. Everything is at Heal That Shit. So that is Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and also Patreon. We have a lot of updates of things that have been happening. We're going to be talking about a lot of that during the show and also after the show. But there is a plan. We just need y'all to be there once the plan unfolds. All right.
Let's
So
buckle up.
make sure, yeah. So make sure that you have liked, that you subscribe. These are all free ways that you can help, right? A lot of times people will ask us how they can help. And I had that moment just a minute ago where I was like, 2 years and then 1 year. And oh my God. Both of us made a conscious effort to start over from zero.
Mhm.
If anybody has been following our personal journeys, we both had very big presences, and both of us turned our mics off and we're just like, it's a lot going on. Since we've been back, we've really made the decision to just start from scratch and to build this safe community that is limited to like-minded people, right? So we want to make sure, again, that you're following us on Facebook. We're almost at 250 followers. Okay. So starting from scratch.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
um,
indeed.
that you subscribe to our YouTube page, that you're following us on Instagram. Again, all of that is going to, that's a free way that you're able to support us. Now, if you're looking for more than that, you can join our Patreon, and that is where you'll get backstage access to the conversations that we have, even backstage access to how we came up with this idea to have this podcast, and to turn our mics back on. So that is a place for only $5 a month that you'll be able to support us there. And then also, if you are listening or you prefer to get your podcast in places where it's audio only, then you can hang out with us over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. And last but not least, we need y'all to know we have a website.
Yes,
Okay, we
indeed. Yes,
healed
we
that
do.
shit.com. And we also have a newsletter that's going to be coming out. So we want you to subscribe to that email address. And I don't want to set Bianca off because she be, when you're talking about social media, she be. But also, I want to say social media right now is a lot. And a lot of people are looking for places to still receive information from creators and people that they're genuinely connected to and interested in, as opposed to looking at your timeline and probably 1 out of 20 posts is from somebody that you actually know, right? So
Mhm.
we also recognize that trend. So we want to make sure that you don't have to be looking and trying to find us. All right. We could send it right to you. So
That's right.
again, if you go to wehealthatshit.com, you can subscribe to the newsletter, and then you'll be able to get that info directly in your inbox. All right. That's all the announcements I have. Do you have any more or anything that I missed?
Oh, I just wanted to highlight that our downloads for the podcast are increasing. So I
Okay.
just want to just uplift for the audio listening community that we see you. The data is showing that you are there. And so we appreciate you. And for those of you that want to be a part of that community too, again, the links are available at wehealthatshit.com. You can find all that you need in this website, and more is going to be added and more will be present there. But that's why you need to go ahead, like Kimberlyn said, add your email to the list so that we can hand it right to you, because these algorithms and the way that we're even talking about mental health, even the title of this podcast
Mhm.
significantly changes how
Mhm.
the algorithm feeds our information, which we named it intentionally. However, the algorithm is not going to be friendly with what we're talking about and also with the title of our name. So therefore, we need you to make sure that you're sharing this content and to uplift others to come to this community, because again, we're together. We're committed to doing the work to heal. Amen.
Amen. So let's go ahead and do our spirit check. If you are watching, you can also participate in the comments. And basically, the way that the spirit check works, if you're watching, you see this, that we have some colored hearts on the screen. So green will symbolize I'm absolutely wonderful, life is great. Blue, I'm good, I don't have any complaints. Purple, I'm okay, things could be better. and yellow, I'm not doing so well. I need support. So, again, if you are watching, you can go ahead and put that in the comments. If you're watching the replay, you can also put that into the comments. And if you are listening, please do take a moment with yourself, and you can also share that in the comments as well. So, having said that, why don't you start? Where are you at today?
So today, where I'm at, I am a blue heart, but there's some beautiful green sparkles in this blue heart. I am good. I don't have any complaints. Also, life is great. However, I don't want to just say I'm green because there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and I
Mhm.
don't necessarily feel comfortable of being like I'm blue when there are some amazing things that are also
Mhm.
happening at the same time. So I'm going to go with the blue heart with some really beautiful green sparkles and sprinkles.
I love that. That's actually a really pretty picture too. So I am purple. I'm okay. Things could be better with splashes of yellow not doing so well. Um, for full transparency, I am over here struggling, y'all, and I'm just trying not to throw up. My cycle has gotten worse and worse and worse the older that I get. And it's early, number one. And number two, I have been feeling like I had to throw up all day long. So I am, but nothing is like coming out, but I feel hot, then I feel cold, it's a lot. So if y'all see me over here fidgeting and such, I'm trying to get it together. Okay. But I wanted to make sure I look forward to this time. So I wanted to make sure that I was here, but also it might not be given the energy it usually be given because sis is over here struggling. All right. So y'all send me some sunflowers and some to stop the nausea in the chat. Okay. All right, cool. All right, so why don't you kick off then our transparency moment? I feel like I've got all sorts of questions. I'm buckling up and listening with y'all. We haven't necessarily had a chance to talk a lot within the past 2 weeks. It's just been a lot going on. So, honey, what's the thing, sis? What's the things?
All right, well, let's talk about it. I'm in a really good space, Kimberlyn. I am in a space where I am very clear on what my assignment is. I am very clear with the people that are in my village. I've been working very, very hard, as I've shared in several episodes of conducting this village audit that I've been talking
Mm-hmm.
about, and making sure that people who have access to me have access to me, and those who do not need to have access to me no longer has that easy
Mm-hmm.
accessibility. And
Mm-hmm.
that has been such a burst of peace.
Can I ask you about what parameters, if you will, did you use in your village audit?
Great question. So I started with my contacts. So remember,
Oh,
I
you
was
really
telling,
went through your contacts for real?
yes,
You really
because I
did?
told you I was not transferring all of that from my old phone to my new phone. I was not doing it. Was not doing it. I had to
What
get a
your
break.
contacts went changed from? You
I
counted it?
no, I that's something that I should have did. I did not do an analysis of what was transferred and what was not. But what I do know is that there are certain phone numbers that are no longer in my phone, or in fact, not no longer, never was transferred to the new phone to begin with.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
The new
I
phone have a new number too?
it does not have a new number. So
Okay.
same number.
Okay. But if they not saved, I'm sorry, I'm all in your go ahead, girl. My bad. I'm
No,
muted.
to
I'm gonna put my questions on the parking lot.
but to that question, I'll answer it. So for those that are blocked, they're blocked. They don't have access. And that's what some of the parameters were. Like there were some people that I intentionally blocked. Like I don't want any type of contact whatsoever. Those individuals that are not listed in my phone to where, their number just pops up, I do have it to where it does screen that. And so it does not ring if it is a number that I do not recognize.
So they get sent a voicemail?
Yes.
You be checking your voicemail?
No.
Me neither.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
So
not.
basically, they just go over there. The perfect
Correct.
one.
Because, yeah. Because, yeah. So I went through and I was just like, what was the last interaction that I had with this human?
Mhm.
Was it positive or was it negative?
Mm.
Is this person someone that I want to continue to have some dealings with? Yes
Every
or
single
no?
person.
Every single person. Very tedious, but was necessary for my peace. And I recommend all folks do that.
I hear you.
Ch- Check through it. Now it's very overwhelming because first of all, I always had a bad history of saving numbers in my phone to begin with. So like let's go ahead and also level set
You
and put
did.
that
You
there.
definitely did.
So there wasn't there wasn't a lot of numbers that was saved in my phone to begin with. So let's start there. Okay.
Oh, so
So
what's not? Can you give me an estimate? Because this is the thing. This is why I'm kind of freaking out, y'all. Because not freaking out, but like I be looking at because first of all, when Bianca says she gonna do something, that shit's getting done. I just need you to understand that that's what's gonna happen. But I have a lot of contacts, right? So in my mind, I'm like, okay, if I could go through the A's, to that, like it'll only take 26 days, but then it just be so many. But so that's why I'm kind of like trying to get the deets on
oh, it took several months to do this. So
oh,
yeah,
okay.
this is not a day process. This is not a week process. This is months. This is months. um there are, again, there are some contacts that are still not moved over. They're still we're going through the screening process. I'm explaining this not in a way of like this is complete. There are still things
Got
that
you.
are being checked and audited as they go along, and as I'm meeting people and all of that, then I'm also determining, okay, well, does this contact go on my phone, or is this like,
Mhm.
is this a business connection? So does the business connection stay on one side, or
Business.
does it go on
Yeah,
like, these are questions that
I
I've
love
had to ask
this.
myself. As far as the number of contacts, I have about 430 something contacts in my phone.
In the new phone,
Mm-mm. That
in the
was
old phone.
in the old phone.
Girl, I got like 3 times that.
Mm-mm.
Oh my God. I have so
Go
many
pull up.
numbers in my phone. I'm sitting here shaking. I'm like, shit. Like
Go.
this is, but to your point, pace yourself. Like just take your time. I think it's that act of doing it. So when you were like going through that process and asking yourself about the interactions, was the last interaction this, da 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 da. How was that feeling as you were doing that?
Oh my gosh. This is the emotional taxing part, because I realized that I had a lot of people in my phone that I have not had contact with in years.
Mm,
So then it was like, okay, well, I wonder how they're doing, but then also like, do I want to intentionally check in and cross that bridge? Is this a number to have like just in case something pops off, or like is this going to be like an actual number that I'm going to use and need?
mm,
So the first thing was I needed to figure out like who was my core village and like who was going to be
mhm,
those emergency contacts. Like if something
mhm,
happened to me, who am I calling, or who is my person going to call if something
mhm,
happens to me? So that's where I
mhm,
started. I had
mhm.
to I had to identify all the OGs, all the people that are riding, that are solid, that I don't have to question. So once I got that list together of who they are, their names, their contact information, and in some cases addresses, because addresses are very very important, to make sure that you know where someone lives and to be able
Mhm.
to send stuff and what, so making sure that all of that information was up to date. Then I was like, all right, let me go through this phone here. So I'm going through and I'm like seeing numbers of like, high school contacts, college contacts, business contacts. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to figure out a way of how to like sort all these things out, because what I don't want to do is to overload my phone with stuff from the past. I
Yeah.
want this phone to truly be set up as a new phone, which I did.
Mhm.
So there are people that, have texted me and their number hasn't transferred over. And so, I'm like, who's this? And I'm not
Mhm.
trying to be petty or funny, but I
Mhm.
don't know, because I don't, I wasn't, I'm not
New phone.
transferring all
Who
of that
is?
data. I'm not. And so I think about like when people have all of these contacts in their phone, like, or just all the people on social media, like, are you really reaching and touching all these people that are
No.
there? Are they just placeholders? Like, what is the significance? For me, I was like, I need to make sure that the people that I need to get in contact with, that I'm able to get in contact with them, and the people who I don't want contact with, that is handled. And so
Mhm.
those were my priorities. Now,
Mhm.
there's quite a few individuals that I'm still screening through to determine if their contact information is going to go on my phone. But when I say priorities, priorities was the village list of who was
Mhm.
my core people. If something were to happen to me, what is their name, their addresses, their phone number, contact information, details, all of that needs to be together. And then I was like, okay, so now I got the core people together. Now let me go ahead and look at dividing out some of these contacts. So if they're business, then they're over on the Google side of things. If they're personal, then they're on the iCloud side of things, because I use an iPhone. So
Mhm.
that's how I was able to determine those two changes. And then from there was going through and being like, oh, okay, well, this is a reporter from insert news station here. The last time that I had an interaction with them, I had to fuss at them because they said what I and
Delete. Don't need
delete,
to have access. Yeah. Can
delete.
I ask what made you be so resolute in saying, I'm about to go through every one of these contacts and I keep hearing you say, I didn't want to transfer all that, but it's not like you had to transfer it. You just hook a cord and do it. So what was it that made you be like, I'm not doing this like I used to do this?
I think it was my process after the social media detox. So after I did the social media detox the first time in December of 22,
Hmm.
and I talked about the social media detox, I was just like, yeah, there's a lot of connectivity. There's a lot of access. I don't like it. I was
Hmm.
very resolute in the fact that I don't want to have a whole bunch of people to have access to me. That I know for certain. What
Hmm.
I desire ultimately is to have a person that serves as a buffer between direct contact, unless I desire or want direct contact. Because what's happening now in my world is that I am inundated with messages and screenshots and just a whole bunch of different things about different scenarios that have nothing to do with me. However, because of who I am in my presence, some people feel that I can help in some of those situations. And in some cases, they are correct. And in some cases, I have to protect my peace and be like, I can't. I don't have the capacity. So I was very resolute in the fact that I do not want to be inundated with a whole bunch of people having access to me. And I even struggled to the question that you asked about me changing my number. I struggled with that, Kimberlyn, because I've had my number for over 11 years.
That's what I
I've
was
had
going to ask you. How
I've
long
had
is
that
that?
number for a very long time. So changing my number wasn't going to be something that I was going to sit with and be okay with, because that would mean I needed to change everything from two-party authentication codes, and that's a lot.
I know
That
that's what I wound up having to do. Remember, I lost, well, because I live outside the country, but I had lost my number that I had had since 2006. And then it was like, wow, this
mm,
is wild. Like, not to have that number at all. And yes, there are still things that I try to log into and it tries to send it to the old number. And I don't really have a way to rectify it because I live in a different country. So it's just, yeah, it's a lot. I know.
yeah. So I think in this season, like, I just want to uplift to others, like, how you use technology is very, very important to the numbers that you save. And okay, and another reason why this was a trigger for me. So I got an alert that someone in my past had joined a social media network. And how they were able to send me that alert was because I guess they were scanning the contacts to determine, I don't
I
want to
don't
see
need
it.
to know nothing about them.
I
Yeah,
don't want to see it.
yeah.
And then my partner tells me, "Oh, well, you can actually search whose phone number is which by putting it in Cash App." I didn't think about that.
By doing what now?
Putting their number in Cash App, the app, to see if it's a registered number in Cash App, because a lot of people use Cash App. So if you don't know what number, if you don't know the number, you don't know who it is, if you put it in
Uh-huh.
Cash App, more likely than not, you'll be able to determine if it's a real person if they have a Cash App account. It's little things like that. Oh, I'm searching it all. I want to
Interesting.
know who's contacting me, what the purpose is, but then also like I don't want all that contact either. So there has to be something that's done. So
Yeah.
please.
It's interesting. And I know you have more, but because my my, my journey looks very different, but it's also I don't know, I feel like mine is more cutthroat. So like because first off, I lost the numbers. So then it was just like, oh well.
Hmm.
I guess if you don't have my information in real life or you're not like actually actively talking to me, then okay, well you lost that contact.
Mm,
Um but then it started to be like the notifications became really overwhelming.
mhm,
And to your point of people sending you stuff, so this is a public service announcement, okay, to anyone who is watching or listening. You don't know what somebody's mental state is, and it is very, very inconsiderate to send people things that could be triggering because of whatever reason, because you think that they can help you or because you think that they might be interested or whatever. It's to the point I have a friend who doesn't like spiders, right? And I don't like snakes and I don't like bathrooms, right? So it's at the point that if we're sending each other a video, first of all, we have to be really intentional. If we're sending a video with spider, snakes, or bathrooms, right? It's got to be a real reason.
mhm,
But if there's a real reason, it's like, hey, trigger warning, letting you know this has this in it, so you can prepare. But this is why I sent it. Blah 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 blah. I've had to share, and I appreciate the majority of the people that I've had to have these conversations with have understood and didn't realize the impact of their actions. And again, this is intention versus impact, right? Your intention might not be to cause harm, but it could, depending on situations. Um, but like sending unsolicited voice notes can be triggering because you have no idea what to expect and you just want me to open this, or like the kinds of things that we get is usually some type of traumatic something that done happened to a child or something that has happened to a teacher or something that has happened to somebody that looks like us. Like we're not always in a place to be able to receive that, right? So we've been having conversations about this for a long time. I definitely know
mhm,
since I left, and that was in 2021. So it had to be maybe 2022, 21. Like we were like, hey, this is a lot. So what I'm appreciating and what you're sharing is your intentionality and actually going through. Because the way I feel like I was just like, hey, done. That's it. Nobody. Okay. To the point my cousin called me the other day and she was like, and I actually had the phone in my hand. So because my ringer is not on, my notifications are not on anything. Email, messaging apps, none of it. Ain't no notification. Probably the only thing that I have a notification on is Patreon. That's it. So my cousin called and I just so happened to have the phone in my hand. So I just so happened to see something pop up that said that she was calling and she was like, I won the lottery. Like for me, it just became so overwhelming that I was just like, I can't. But in the same token, what I've had an influx in lately is people in my DMs that we've had some type of adjacent dealings in the past, feeling like they have access to me and they know me. So now they're trying to use that to gain access for whatever reasons might be. And it's really made me be like, a lot of people love the idea of me, but the actuality of me, like that's not really what you want. That's really, I promise it ain't, because I'm about to read you up and down and in between. I just need you to understand, you know?
Yes, indeed.
So I feel like I've taken the opposite approach. I feel like I've just been like, we'll everybody just go away. And if you know how to find me, you know how to find me. And if you don't, well, I hope you know somebody that know how, because I just can't right now.
It's so overwhelming. And I want to know what other people are thinking about as they're listening to this, because I'm just wondering, like, are you overwhelmed with the amount of different messaging apps that are designed so that you can reach someone and you can communicate with someone? Like, does it overwhelm you having
Right.
a messaging app and then having all of these different social media apps and then having these apps that are not linked to social media at all, but they're communication apps like
Yeah.
Signal, GroupMe? It's copious.
Slack.
It's so many.
Turn it all off. All of it. Make it all go. I'm at the point I just want a landline. Like that's how I started. I was like, I'm just gonna live my life like I have a landline, and then when I'm home, I'm home. And if I'm not, I'm not. And what am I doing? I don't know. Whatever the
Little
hell I'm
baby
doing.
said landline.
That's what I feel like. I miss those days. I don't, were you alive then? Did y'all have I don't remember.
We got some technical difficulties because somebody playing. Okay.
I'm being serious because we have like a 9 or 10 year gap. It was
I'm used to landlines, man.
and did y'all have an answering machine?
Don't do me.
Did y'all have an answering machine?
Yes, we had an answering machine.
I don't be remembering when things started getting because this is the thing. I got 2 interns, right? And they're in their 20s. They just got out of college.
Mhm.
So I was explaining something to one of them the other day, and they were like, you know what we was talking about?
What?
MapQuest.
Oh.
That's what we was talking about. And I was like, I said, yeah, because when I was in school, we was talking about road trips in college, right? I was like, yeah, girl, because when I was in school, we used to have to print out the map. And then we used to you just had to do that. So if you need to get something to eat, like it had to be right off the interstate or whatever, and like, yeah. And she was like, I couldn't imagine. I just, what? No GPS. And I was like, where it wasn't no cell phone. Like the more I kept talking, the worse and worse and worse it got. Because I was like, we didn't have cell phones back then.
Mhm.
So you just dress. So she was like, so if there was an emergency, and I was like, well, you had to walk to the nearest gas station to find a payphone or a little blue phone on the thing. But she was like, payphone? And I was like, she said, I saw one of those in a movie. Hey, that's enough. Okay, that's enough. So I didn't know if I don't.
Oh.
So anyway,
just wild.
I'm at the point where I just want to go back to when there were landlines and answering machines. And I done already told you I don't check the voicemail. Okay. So maybe it's not even answering machines that I want to deal with, just a landline. And if I'm on the phone, it's busy. Okay.
Mhm.
That's what I want to go back to, when there wasn't no call waiting. Okay. I'm not available. Like I'm just I'm not. Because this is the thing, Bianca, for people like us who were raised and conditioned to be available and accessible to others, and people that like us that are like service hearts of service and wanting to help and wanting to show up and wanting to, I could help like this, da, da, da. We be so overextended. So when we finally get to the point where you be like, no mas,
Mm.
not doing this no more. People think that you being real like selfish and dramatic and it can't be that bad and all that because they're not understanding. First of all, I don't want your inbox, honey, because your inbox be in shambles. You hear me? Shambles.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So like y'all can't even like conceptualize like
I
how
wish
much
I could
is
show people. I
I
wish I
know,
could show people
I know. It's
what
a lot.
be in there.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So I'm just saying all that to say I appreciate your intentionality in how you were like, I'm not doing this. And I know a lot of it stemmed from your heart surgery and your heart and like really thinking about that. It is so interesting that that was 2 years ago.
Mhm.
That is really, really interesting.
Yeah.
That is really interesting. Okay, I butted all into your transparency moment. What else you got?
So I'll keep my part brief because I want to hear about you. So a couple announcements in this transparency moment that I have. I did the back to school event. Now, okay, so the last episode, Life Unfiltered, Heal That Shit, this podcast here, I had made an announcement that I was going to do a social media activity. Now, something on my spirit was to say August 8th. I did not have anything together for that. I did not have no link. I did not have a
Oh, when we
slide
was
deck.
on the show?
Yes. So the last show that we did, I announced that I was going to do it and I did it, but had no planning. There was no and when
Well,
I tell
amen.
you that event was beautiful, I
Yes,
went
it
to
was.
look at the clicks of how many people clicked the webinar link, and it's hundreds of people that have clicked this link to see the replay of what is still available. I'll put it in the chat for those of you that want to catch this replay, but it is in regards to social media safety and keeping our children safe online, particularly as we go back to school. I am so blessed that it went through so smoothly. And I'm excited to rinse and repeat and do this again. And it's going to be tomorrow. So, tomorrow, right? So tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about different types of apps that parents and caregivers and community members need to know. And so I wanted to do like a segment where I like break down different type of genre of apps. And I've
Mm.
gotten a lot of feedback on the ghost app segment where there are
Mhm.
calculator apps and secret vaults that children are using to hide pictures and videos and screenshots and just a whole bunch of things that can be concealed with this particular app category. So there are a bunch more that's out there. So I'm going to unpack and highlight some of those apps that are available for the Google Play store and also what's available to the App Store with iPhone and tablet devices. So you don't want to miss it. It's going to be 8 o'clock tomorrow. Okay. And I'm very excited. It's going to be on checkthecellphone.com. And I'm excited to do this. This is what fuels me. I've
Yeah.
been feeling really, really good about posting and producing this type of content. And I'm very excited for what else is going to come. But when I say God has been very clear with me, I see myself on stages talking to parents and community members about different tips and tech tools and just all of it of how to keep our children safe, because what is happening on this internet
It's
is
wild.
very dangerous for our children, and not just our children, the adults, and not just the adults, the elderly. Like
That's what
I'm
I was
looking
about to
at
say.
both spectrums of this where I'm trying to get the youngest of the young and the oldest of the old using technology, because both of these groups are being harmed by tech companies due to the lack of education and knowledge. And so I want to be one of those digital guardians to bridge the gap. And I also want to create a pipeline of other digital guardians that will also be in this fight so that we can be committed together of making sure that the internet is a safer place. So when I say God has been moving in my life, and I am so grateful that all of the blessings are just starting to show, and the light is starting to show so much brighter for me now.
Amen.
It is a blessing to be able to sit here in peace, to
Yeah.
be like, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm showing up, and being very, very bold and unapologetic about it. And I encourage all folks to continue your walk and be unapologetically you, because people going people, life is going life. But one thing I will tell you, God is going to continue to God. And I
Amen.
am grateful for God. I am grateful.
Amen. 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 Let the church
Say
say amen.
amen.
Let the church say no. But seriously. I was about to say something about what you said. Oh, them apps on that. Hey y'all, listen. If you watching this over on the Facebook, we the ones. Okay. We the ones. All right. Us, anybody that's still on Facebook, we the target demographic. Okay. Because we don't be knowing the things. And I know some of us more hip than others. And also we don't be knowing. Okay. So I remember that first time you showed me that calculator app. And I just was like, oh my, this is wild, right? So I think there's power in recognizing that we are a bit out of touch and getting better in touch, as opposed to feeling like we know everything and then all sorts of things are happening. And my hope is that when we get this information, that we don't weaponize the information and use it to talk down on our children. My hope is that it will be used to create accountability for everybody in the house. Because if we why are we hiding things? Like what's happening? Why don't we feel safe? What's going on? What is the culture like in my home? Like why what like all of that. Um but I will say it's some really good information. I be up in there in the comments because I be needing to find out, because I haven't been in the classroom since 2012, right? Like actually teaching a classroom. I haven't been in a school since 2019. I've been completely out of like educational day to days since 2019. So the amount of tech that has happened in that time, it's wild. And I don't remember when I had the realization that the children are not on Facebook. I was like, them kids ain't over here, like at all. They're not seeing anything
Mm-mm.
over here. So we have to recognize that. So thank you for your service. I know that's your heart's passion, and
It
I'm glad you're
is.
back in it, because I have been telling you for a while. I was liking that series that you were doing with all the crazy, what you called it again?
It was
Unfiltered.
the unfiltered and underground.
Yeah, that was wild. They're still
Yeah.
up on the
It's
YouTubes.
still up on YouTube under Teaching for the Culture. You can go see. And I was very dominant, masculine presenting, but still great content. Still
Why
amazing,
did you feel the need to say that?
because there are been Kimberlyn, like my inboxes. So
What?
there have been questions about like my transition
Not
of
a
being,
transition.
and it has been framed in that way. That's why I use that word intentionally, because some people are like, "Oh, so you're dressing more feminine, and like, so like, where are like, you still like girls? Like what?" And I'm just like,
Why? Why are they concerned with it? They trying to holler.
well, clearly, if you look on my profile, I'm I'm done with being outside. Okay. And them rates too high to be outside anyway. I hope that y'all, speaking of that, I know we need to get to you, but this is on my chest.
Say what you
Okay.
got to say, sis.
Um, folks, when we talk about healing, we talking about all of it. Okay.
Amen.
Now, some of y'all are outside and y'all being real reckless. Y'all being real reckless, and y'all see these stats of these numbers of these STIs and these things that's happening out here. I need y'all to be careful. I need y'all to get tested, and I need y'all to test for you, but also test the people that you with,
Amen.
because it is a very dangerous game that folks are playing out here. And I need y'all to be very intentional about not just healing you, but also healing your whole body,
Yeah.
meaning being aware of what's happening to your whole body. Okay, that was just on my spirit, because the data. I looked at the data today, and I
Oh,
was just like,
this science teacher approves. And it needed to be said. So speaking of healing the whole body, that's what I've been over here focusing on. The main thing that I have been working on is getting my routines together. I realized at some point on this journey that my mornings were real willy-nilly, just kind of just get up and see, type of thing. And I really, at first, I was treating this process like a checklist, and I was stressing myself the hell out. Then my psychologist
mm,
was like, "Ma'am, that's not how this supposed to go."
mm,
So I've been trying to give myself more grace in the process, but not but, and it is really starting to pay off, and I'm starting to see certain things that do feel very grounding, and help to shift me into a state of mind that I want to be in, as opposed to having to react to different things, which I know, I'm not trying to put you on the soapbox, but also, um, so no notifications makes a difference. Like not having the phone be the first thing you pick up in the morning, like makes a difference. So I've really been chipping away at all of that and trying to pay attention to when I feel best. So right now, my favorite things to do in the morning is my meditation, that I start with a grounding meditation. And then during that time, I usually journal. And then um that makes me open the blinds because I want to be able to see to journal. And then I usually wind up taking a shower, and brushing my teeth. And then that leads me to leaving out the room, which leads me to opening the patio. And now let me make a smoothie or some breakfast, right? So I've been like really paying attention to all of that. I also started growing stuff.
yes, indeed.
Okay. So,
Go ahead with your green thumb.
girl, so 2 weeks
I see
ago,
some of the videos you've been posting, so I hope the people
yes,
actually go follow your page, and I hope that you link it in the comments so people can see, because I you've been very proud of that, and I was very grateful to see the joy that you had in that process.
yes, it's been really cool. I am often very fascinated with the idea of growth. Um, Not just as a science teacher, but like what I want to do with this process of growth, of these crops and such, is I want to find the life lessons within the growth process for my own self.
Mm,
You know,
that's good.
yeah. So I was trying to, so my crops, let me tell y'all what I'm growing. So hold on, and I'm trying to do two things at one time. So y'all can see all of this over on Minding My Black Ass Business. My Instagram and my YouTube, I be putting it over there. So I just put the Instagram and stuff, but minding my black ass business. But what I'm growing is cilantro, rosemary, and onions. So
Ooh.
like green onions. So because I've been conditioned, this is multifaceted. So let me try to like take all the different places. One, I didn't realize how disconnected we are. I don't know if I still say we people, how disconnected people are in the US from the source of their food.
Mm, mhm,
Right.
mhm.
So I really didn't realize it because even when I was in Mexico, I feel like a lot of the food was still processed. And by processed, I mean that I don't necessarily mean processed and packaged, but I mean that it went through a process before they put it in your hand. As opposed to here in Colombia, when you buy fresh produce, the roots are still attached with the dirt. They be like, here,
Not here.
here you go. You know, so I didn't really realize how we don't see food with the roots attached. Like we don't see that. Or even to have fruit trees, unless you grew up in a place that had fruit trees and that was your norm. But many people who grew up in cities, they don't, they used to getting their fruit food from the store, right? So when they see fresh fruit, natural organic fruit that was grown, it feels abnormal. So that was the first thing of having to change that perception and being like, because
Mm.
I remember the first time I bought some cilantro, I was like, well, damn, y'all just picked it out the ground. And then I was like, well, yeah, that's where it's supposed to come from. Like, yes, you know? And then I started thinking, especially when you're talking about saving money and all of that, like growing your food is like the easiest way, if you will, to not have to continuously buy food. But then also, the process of taking care of a crop, taking care of a plant. I remember when I was in Pennsylvania and my therapist at the time was like, you need to get some plants. And I was like, I don't know how to grow things. And she was like, you need to get some plants. It is so much easier than I thought it would be. So even when I had planted it, I was still like, I don't know if this gonna work, even though I know how plant growth works, but I was like, I don't know if I could really do this. So for it to actually like be flourishing, I'm like, this is so dope. Like it feels childlike, almost like the childlike
Mm,
excitement. I don't
mhm.
know if y'all remember, again, dating myself, so I don't know if they still do this in the school, but they used to give you a kidney bean and you would grow the kidney bean. Did you ever do that in school?
We didn't do a kidney bean, but we did
What you
have a growth type of experiment with the seed and watering it and putting it outside and letting it do its thing.
Yeah. So we did kidney beans, and maybe that's because I was in New Orleans and there was plenty of them too. But you can see like the growth process. So it's always been fascinating to me, but it's been really cool to like watch it happening on my balcony. So my cilantro is doing really well.
Yes, indeed.
And my idea is I want to plant like two or three iterations of it. So once I harvest one, then the next one will be ready for harvest. Okay. So and then I also have some mint that I've been growing for a while, and
Mm.
I'm just growing it in a glass of water because a lot of, I don't know if y'all do this, okay, because put you on some plant game or
Yes,
whatever.
indeed. All
But
right, plant mom.
it's called propagation, where you can cut off a piece of a plant and put it in water and it will grow new roots. So my mint, I love mint, but it goes bad like really fast when you buy it. So I was like, let me just start growing some of this. So I really do need to transplant it into some dirt so that it can thrive and stuff. And I put it out there with the rest. But that's cool that I'm fixing my tea and I just pinch off this little mint right here. You know what I mean? Like it is just so cool.
Mhm,
So that part, but then the other part of it is knowing where my food is coming from,
mhm.
because getting outside the US and realizing The level of realization that I've had about the level of propaganda that occurs in the United States of America has blown my mind. Like, to
Mm.
be outside of the echo chamber and to be looking in and being like, wow, this is wild. For instance, the FDA is pushed up as this, incredibly impactful organization that's keeping the people of America safe. And so many things that are approved by the FDA are carcinogens and causing all types of diseases and all of that. Whereas, for instance, here, when you buy something processed, for instance, I like Snickers. Sorry. I like Snickers. And sometimes I get on Snickers kicks. That's the only kind of chocolate that I eat. I don't like any other chocolate. Okay. But when you buy it on the package, it says excessive sugar, or it might say excessive sodium. Is also significantly more expensive than fresh produce and fresh food.
Mm.
So it's the opposite. Whereas in the US, you can get Snickers and Doritos and Takis and Arizona tea, for $5. And here you might pay $5 for a liter of Coke, because it's like that's not healthy, you know. So it's just really interesting. So it's really changed my relationship with food.
Mm-hmm.
And now my a part of my routine that I look forward to is making a smoothie or making a fresh juice. I be fruit ninja up in here.
Yes,
You know what
indeed.
I mean? Chopping down pineapples and watermelons and papaya and guava and like all of this. So it's also like expanding my palate
Mm-hmm.
for different types of fruits and vegetables and different types of foods. So allowing myself to kind of go through that process of tasting different things. And it's also leading me to now want to know how to do more things. So I want to make a smoothie every day. For instance, my favorite smoothie right now is a banana peanut butter smoothie. So I'll do bananas, almond milk, peanut butter, cinnamon, vanilla, and then I might put strawberries or blueberries in it if I'm feeling fancy, and then I put some
Ooh.
granola on top. It's my absolute favorite. Love it, right? But also, almond milk is expensive. So then I was like, I need to learn how to make almond milk because
Mm.
I don't want to be spending $5 for almond milk every time. Now, granted, that's one of the few like high costs that I have, but can I just go to the almond place and get a bunch of almonds and make my own? So it's really making me want to like go through the process of making my own products. Like, let me figure out how to make my own almond milk. Let me figure out how to make my own oat milk. Let me figure out even, and then that extends to body butters. And the other day I was thinking about room refresher spray, like air freshener. And I was like, oh, how could I make that? So I be on Pinterest down every rabbit hole
Yes, indeed.
imaginable. Thinking, I'm talking hair products, face products, skin and hair, like everything. I've been looking for a holistic alternative, but also thinking about how I can be more cost conscious and reproduce, somebody without like more sustainable. That's what the word is. I'm like, what is
Mhm.
the word? More sustainable with the things that I'm using, because even my garden, I planted the plants in leftover plastic bottles because I had been using plastic bottles for water or for soda or whatever. So then I was like, plant container, here you go. Put some holes in the bottom, bada bing, bada boom. We good to go. So that's what I have been on, and a part of my routine that I look forward to. Like I said, making my smoothies, sitting on the balcony, and talking to my plants.
Amen.
Yeah.
Okay. I got a couple of questions.
What?
I did put earlier for those that are listening and those that will watch this later, or those that are even watching this now, I'm curious to know what your daily routine looks like. And I'm wondering, what is something that is in your daily routine that gives you the most joy?
You asking me or you
I'm
about to
asking
tell
you.
me? What's in my daily routine that gives me the most joy?
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, my shower.
Mm. And that's where
Yeah.
God speaks to you. So I
Mhm.
can see that.
Yeah, and I say interestingly enough because we know how I feel about bathrooms, but,
Right. Right.
um, yeah, you know what's so interesting is it's always a struggle for me to get into the shower, just as far as and I've read about this, so this is the other part of the healing and such, is the neurodivergence of it all, and really understanding what what's the autism, what's the ADHD, what's happening right now, what
Mhm.
accommodations do I need to make for myself type of thing. And I was reading some articles the other day and they were talking about there's a thing where like water hurts people. So like people, that's one of the reasons why sometimes people struggle to take showers and all of that. But for me, it's not that the water hurts or anything like that. For me, it's like trying to not feel like I have to do it. Like I want to do it. So sometimes when I feel like I have to do it, it makes it more difficult for me. So and that's with anything and everything. And I've said that a
Mm,
few
mhm.
times. Like I don't want to have to do nothing. If I have to do it, I don't want to do it. That's just how my life works.
Yeah.
I don't. I wanna get to do things and I want to do things. But if I have to do something, it just adds a cloud of darkness over my life. So I try to keep myself in a place where I look forward to it and I look forward to the experience, or I look forward to novelty is something that has always motivated me. So like even as a kid, I remember I would look forward to brushing my teeth because I got a new toothbrush or I got some new toothpaste. So I would be like, "Ooh, I can't wait to go and use this," right? So novelty has been something that has allowed me to look forward to taking a shower and actually getting lost in time in the shower as
Mm,
opposed to I have to go do this and I'm in and out in 5.5 minutes and whew, got that done. So I've really been working to reframe that as well, because it makes it feel joyous and joyful. So I would say my shower is probably the best part of my morning routine. I'm interested in your morning routine because I feel like you live a very structured life. Um, so I'm interested in your morning routine, but I'm also interested in what your favorite part is.
mm. Well, so my morning routine, varies on location.
Okay.
And it varies on where I'm at, but there are certain things that are requirements that get done regardless of location.
Uh,
So a couple of things would be my meditation and me looking at an affirmation. So there is an app that I have on my phone. It is called Mantra, and every day, those that follow me on Instagram, you will see the affirmation every day because I post it intentionally. But I read the affirmation and I say, how does this apply to my life? What does this look like? What can I
mhm,
learn from this? And just taking a moment to ground myself. I love working out now.
mhm.
I love moving my body. I love being on Instagram and showing the crop tops and booty shorts and stuff that I'm able to wear unapologetically. And that brings me joy. While I do my workout, I do a journal activity where I am audio only and I am talking while I'm doing my workout,
Oh.
talking about my day, talking about what happened the day prior, talking about what I'm going to be doing today, whatever my spirit leads me to do.
Mhm.
And so I've been trying to work to be very consistent on the audio journal part, because sometimes I'll get into a good audio book or a good soundtrack and I'm just powering through. But I've been working on being more intentional with actually doing that process instead of
Mhm.
just writing in a
Mm.
journal, which I used to do very heavily. Now
So
I want to hear my
feel
voice.
you feel more called to audio now.
That is correct. Yes.
Interesting. I was gonna ask you something else about you said you do a meditation. Where do you get your meditation from?
So that is an excellent question. So the meditation is stillness. It is stillness. Um, so depending on location, so if I'm at my partner's house, they have a meditation app that they use, and there are times where we would actually sit together 3 minutes and actually go through this kind of guided activity. When I am in a space where I am alone and I'm doing my own meditation, it's one or two things. I think I've shared with you me doing my meditation on the Oculus and the metaverse and me
Mhm.
using that, or it is a moment of stillness where I either put, meditation music, got a playlist for that. I've also listened to the affirmations that you have used as a part of my meditation time, of just like, all right, let's get a moment of stillness. Let's do this for 5 minutes or less and just kind of be in stillness. And so it just depends. Um, I think for like room for improvement with my morning routine, I'm still kind of like battling this whole thing of when I go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, I have a bad habit of picking up my phone and
Mm.
looking at my phone in the middle of the night. Also, to that, waking up and then my phone being one of the first things that I grab. And so been talking about that for quite some time now, about how I feel about that. And
Mhm.
so working through that in my morning routine is something that is like a weakness for me. And
Mhm.
I'm unpacking as to like my relationship with my phone, which is why
Yeah.
I've been very intentional with what is actually in my phone, to where I'm trying to reduce the way that I've been using my phone. I had shared with my sister earlier today, we were eating, and I had shared with her that my screen time yesterday was 15 hours.
In
And
one day?
yesterday was 15 hours. So I asked her, I was like, well, what's your screen time? Like having those conversations of like, what is your screen time? Like that changes mental health. That's study.
Mhm.
That's science.
Mhm. Mhm.
We have had case after case after case where people have came forward to say that the longer that you are on these screens, the more that you will have mental health impacts. And I'm telling you, as someone who's experienced it and is currently experiencing it, we have to evaluate the relationship that we have with our devices.
Yeah. Yeah. I and I guess I wonder what makes folks hesitant to do it. Um I saw something today and it said you heard of FOMO, right?
Yeah, the fear of missing out.
Listen. So this said JOMO, the joy of missing out. And I said, yes.
And we've been talking about joy all day. I like it.
I was like, I think I want to miss some things on purpose. Right?
It
Like, especially, I know that I wasn't going to bring this up, but I am. With this election cycle and everything that is going on in this election cycle and everything that is going to go on from the local level all the way to the national is
mm,
all
mm,
fuckery and foolishness, okay? But I think it is so much more important now for us to be much more intentional about what we're ingesting and what we're not. Um, I know I've even had to tell my dad before, like with some videos that he shared, I've been like, hey, don't go now over there to them red pill and listen, nah, that stuff is not real. You saw the who wrote something about it? Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders wrote a letter and or a post, and he was basically talking about the foundation that's being laid right now to not trust what you can see, because oh boy was saying that Kamala Harris, the people that were at her rally weren't real, that was AI, the tens of thousands of people, and he's the one who actually had more people than Martin Luther King on January 6th, right? So, like, what the foundation is, the foundation that is being laid right now is that you can't trust what you see. And in many ways, you can't. But also, some of the stuff is real, but also some of the stuff is not. So, this is another thing that's making me think about this. So I be watching Mel Goolsby. I'm not a lawyer, but and she's been following the YSL trial. And one of the guys that's been on the stand, Kenneth Copeland, he was like, "Y'all keep taking the the truth, the little bit of truth that I'm giving you, and then you throw it on the bullshit and you try to make the bullshit true." And he's like, "None of that other stuff was true. Only just this little bit was true." So he might say something like, "I woke up and I went to the store and then da 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 happened," right? So the only part that was true in it all was I woke up. The rest of it was a full and complete lie. So I really think that right now, in this time where AI is, just taking off by leaps and bounds, that is important. This is kind of a circle back to what you've been talking about. And I hope you will unpack AI. I don't know if you had that on the agenda, but if you could please, a special request, add that, because I don't want us to be afraid of AI. AI has a lot of positive uses, and we use AI in helping to save brain cells. But also, because people don't know about it, they are afraid of it. So then, if you call something that, then people just don't know. And what happens is you go to the echo chamber that you in, as opposed to seeking reliable sources and such, right? So I think it's important during this time that we, one, have a grasp on what's real. And one of the ways that we can filter what's real is by reconnecting to our own bodies, so that our bodies will let us know there's something off about this, or this feels very peaceful, this feels very much in alignment, right? It's hard for us to realize if things are in or out of alignment if we're disconnected from our bodies. And it's hard for
Come
us
on.
to understand what is speaking to our spirits, what's triggering us, what's calming us down, if we're constantly taking inputs from things that may or may not be true. So,
Yes, indeed.
full circle, having said all of that, I think it's really important right now to prioritize how they are really cutting up outside. I don't know if y'all can hear all of this, but baby,
It's very faint. It's not a
girl,
lot.
they is cutting
I'm
up.
sure. I'm sure it's wild.
Jeez, sorry, y'all. Colombia is doing a lot right now. But I think it's really important for us to make sure that we are prioritizing our own mental health, that we are taking the time to unplug and actually connect to ourselves, connect to the people that are in our real worlds, right? And then when we choose to access these virtual spaces, that we do it understanding that everybody don't really be in the real world. Some people live in alternate universes, and ain't nothing we could do about it. Like, some people really just, that's where they are, right?
Mhm.
I see a lot of people like trying to convince other people, like even in the Win with Black Women group, people are like, my family said this or that, or how do I convince them? Da 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 da. I don't recommend you do that. For somebody who's in the sunken place, for somebody that's in the matrix, your mental faculties and your emotional state is what's going to be most important. And I'm not saying people are a lost cause, but I'm saying you need to take care of you first. And if you are going back and forth with people on the internet, or you're trying to convince people of the reality of things, and they stuck on stupid, and they wanting to be ignorant, and their ignorance is bliss in their world, let them, let them, let them. And
Let
you
them be.
save yourself, right?
Please.
Like that has to be our priority. But I feel like it's just getting ramped up. And I know, and it's also like in such a capsule of how much time, like it's been like it's what, it was 100 days, I think, when she first declared or whatever. So the DNC is this week. Like that's gonna be a lot. And then primaries are coming up. Like that's a lot. So it's just a lot that's happening. And take it from us who have experienced um the backlash of political misalignments and such. Your mental health is so much more important than anything else.
That's right. I posted about this today, this morning, as I was on my walk. Protect your peace,
Yeah.
because I've already shared with people in my community to buckle up, because it was going to be a whole bunch, and it's going to be a whole bunch more. And to your point, and like I said in the last episode with my teddy bear snuggie on, people don't know the difference between what's real and what's not real. And some people have a very odd relationship with the word truth.
Absolutely.
So, with all that being stated, this is why receipts are important. This is why protecting your peace is important, and prioritizing how you are going to show up in a virtual space, in a real space, whatever that looks like. The main thing is for you to be at peace and for you to be healed, because
Yeah.
people are leaving here left and right.
And they so young. Like it is crazy how many folks between the ages of 30 and 50 are checking out of here on the daily. Like it's blowing my mind. I just had a schoolmate today and she was like, I ain't want to tell y'all, but also my heart rate was super elevated yesterday, and then people checked me into the emergency room immediately. It's like, listen, y'all, listen. No, okay? Like we have we, all of us, every single one of us, me and Bianca too, we have to be intentional about doing these audits and looking at the things that we're letting into our system, looking at the things that are lingering, looking at our practices. Like we have to do this in order to save ourselves.
Right.
We really do. Like it is life and death.
It's life or death for
It
some of
really
us.
is for all of us, because I feel like even those of us who may be the picture of perfect health physically, but mentally and emotionally, we're broken and burnt out, and trying to figure out which way is up, or crying in the car before you go to work, or sitting in the driveway because you don't want to go home. Like we are conditioned to continue working until burnout, and I just don't want y'all to have to go through burnout. Like I
Mhm.
really, 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 really don't. And speaking of that, I had hosted a Zoom to recognize the impact of burnout. And the first time I did it, I actually wound up just being there by myself. But I was glad that I did that, because I was able to give my own self voice to what it's like to recover from this process. Like I do feel like I was in active burnout 2019 through, and I was literally treading, just trying to stay afloat, trying to stay afloat, trying to stay afloat. And then things will get a little bit better, then things will get crazy. And then like that is exhausting. And that does come to a point where your body is like, listen, not untold you. And you keep doing what I said is not working. And
Mhm.
now shutting down. whether that be your brain, whether that be your heart, whether that be your organs. Like, you don't want to get to a point of having to clear your calendar because you have no other choice because something is happening.
That's
So
right.
when we're talking about look through your social media, look at your phone, look at who has access, think about boundaries. All of this is the work that we have to do to make sure that we are protecting our peace and keeping ourselves safe from getting to a place where we cannot do anything anymore. We ain't good for nobody.
That's right.
Okay. So again, we're using our lives to hopefully inspire this idea of healing because it's our responsibility to make sure that we take care of ourselves,
That's
and
right.
it's our responsibility to make sure that we are good role models for the generations coming behind us. Like when I'm talking to my interns and I'm asking them, like, what's your capacity about whatever? And they say, oh, I think I could do it. It sounds like you need the day off. Go handle your business. Right. But we're used to having to put ourselves to the sideline because somebody is expecting us to produce, because somebody wants to consume us, because something needs to happen, and somebody might need me, but you need you.
Yeah.
You need you. I need me. You need you, right? So that's what I'm on right now. And I've just kind of just been getting lost in that world and allowing myself to be lost in that world, but also trying to set up systems to come back to the real world every so often, right? Check an email, okay, cool, but not doing that all day because I was being obsessive, and it wasn't doing right. And I'm tired of getting fussed at, frankly, be honest. Okay. I'm tired of my psychologist being like, ma'am, ma'am. Right. So I'm trying to do right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do right. So yeah, that's that.
Something that this makes me think of, it makes me think of us just taking a moment of being like, all right, looking yourself in the mirror, and I'm gonna do this after I get done and get settled. But like, it'll be 3 years tomorrow of me asking people about freedom and fulfillment.
Mm,
And so I often ask this question to others and have to ask myself as well.
yeah.
And as we're approaching this 3-year anniversary, which I will be very transparent and tell you that I am working on a piece for it, to share why it is so impactful for me, why my
Mm,
purpose is asking people that question, and why I make it very intentional to talk to people about what this looks like, because burnout is real, mental health is real, and we have to be able to be our best selves in order to be better for others. And I thrive in helping and serving others. But also, that has been a detriment to me as
mhm.
well, because sometimes I will tend to do so much and be neglectful of my own needs.
Yeah.
And so the balancing act of being a person that wants to give service and to be a help, but also making sure that there's reciprocity, that I'm also receiving help too, so that there is no burnout and no feeling that I have no control. And God has full control in all of this, and I am very grateful to God. But also, we got to do our part too.
Yeah.
And so that means evaluating your daily routines. Is it bringing you joy? Evaluating who has access to you, and do they bring you joy or do they bring you anxiety? Do they regulate your emotions, and
Right.
do they regulate your nervous system? What does that look like? But then also thinking about all the things that we have to do in this life and figuring out what brings us freedom, fulfillment, and joy in all of it. Because I'm telling you, there's people that are leaving here that wish they had another opportunity to do something a little bit different so that they can live a long, prosperous life. And I don't know what this message is for. Let me say that in a different way. I don't know what um is going to come with all of this, What I do know is that these messages and these deposits is something that I wish that I had going through this journey of healing. There are so many people that have came to me to say, "Bianca, thank you for your transparency moments." And I'm going to continue to do those because I feel like it is very impactful to give people the raw, the real, and understanding that everyone has their own journey and it looks different for everybody. But you need to find what that freedom, fulfillment, and joy looks like in it. Otherwise, is not going to be prosperous for you. You're not going to feel good. And from someone who's been there, I want to be able to look in the mirror and smile and know that I did everything that I could to make the world a better place. And I hope that each of you can look in the mirror and stay the same.
Amen. Amen. So I guess that's our hard work for this week. You all tell us in the comments about your daily routine, what brings you joy, and what does freedom and fulfillment look like for you as you are unpacking all of the things. So
Oh,
y'all let us know in the comments about that. And we will be back in 2 weeks. So our next show is August 28th at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Of course, in the meantime, if you are looking for us, you can find us collectively on Heal That Shit. Again, on all platforms, wehealthatshit.com, where you're also able to sign up for our newsletter. And if you're looking for me, oh, I didn't share this. I did some updates to my website.
ooh.
So if you go to kimberlyjackson.com, you can see a couple updates that I did as I'm in transition and figuring out what that's going to look like. But also, Minding My Black Ass Business is where I am most of the time. Y'all be like, where's she at? Over there, over on Minding My Black Ass Business, Minding My Black Ass Business.
Yes, ma'am.
So, so make sure you're connected. I'm at 600 and I can't remember 17 maybe subscribers on my YouTube page. I
That's all
am
that twerking
on.
you doing.
God, listen, I'm trying to get me a Colombian booty. I'm trying to
Yes,
figure out how to
indeed.
twerk. I'm trying to grow these plants. I'm making smoothies. I'm doing basic routines and stuff. Like that's where I'm at. Okay. So I would love for y'all to come over there and hang out with me. Tell the people where they can find you at.
Oh, okay. So you can find me at biancagoolsby.com. You can also find me protecting my peace and minding my black ass business. So I hope that y'all govern yourselves accordingly with all that has been shared today, because I am telling you, we are out here doing this work and very committed because there are a lot of broken people and brokenness, and we have to love on each other and to hold people accountable and to be transparent and to have integrity with how we move. And we are going to be committed to making sure that at least we're providing everything that we can in our wheelhouse to help others on this journey, because it is tough.
Yeah,
And I also just want to say a quick note to the educators that went back to school, that I am sending you so much love, light, and peace.
absolutely.
I have seen some educators that have already slid in my inbox, Kimberly. I didn't even have an opportunity to tell you, where it is day 3 and they are burnt out already.
Oh
Burnout
gosh.
is real on day 3. So I
Wow.
am praying for those educators, the support staff, and the children that are in these education spaces, because there is a war on education. And I hope for the parents and the community members that are listening to this that have young children, that they take the opportunity to really listen to what is happening at their child's school site, but
Please.
also to be very invested in their education outside of the schoolhouse, because it is very, very, very important to be
Yeah.
very intentional with your child's education and our children that we're raising in this world, because it is a lot that's going on. So please
A
buckle
whole
up.
lot. A whole lot. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Love y'all so much. Again, like, share, comment, subscribe, all the things. Bye, guys.
Bye.